According to the ancient tales, the world was created by the three goddesses. Din, the goddess of power, created the land. Nehru, the goddess of wisdom, created order. And Fëanor, the goddess of courage, created life. Before they left the world they created, the three goddesses created the Triforce, a magical object made up of 3 golden triangles, and they entrusted it with the goddess Hyla. The Triforce grants a wish to those who possess the 3 virtues of the goddesses: power, wisdom, and courage. If one doesn't have the proper balance of virtues, the Triforce will split into 3 separate pieces. Only by reuniting the 3 pieces can the true power of the Triforce be obtained. Throughout time, the Triforce has chosen a select few to wield its individual powers.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. WolfmanWalsh here. And I figure it's time that we finally get started on this mod that I have been talking about for months and have just not had the time or energy to do. But now, seems like as good a time as any. This is the MkM Isonzo. It is a Vox design. And this is a tiny, tiny little knife. Now, I like little knives. My Civivi Elementum, love it. My Kaiser Urban Bowie, love it. Kershaw Shuffle 2, these are all in that small category. There's a nice choil here to where you can choke up if needed. Still kind of only hits right here 3 fingers, kind of 3.5-ish. Not sure what you'd be using that for. Other than this is just a fun little fancy knife. So M390 on the steel, wire pocket clip, not my favorite. But we are going to be disassembling this and doing some modifications to turn this into a tribute or homage of sorts to pretty much my favorite game growing up, and quite possibly still my favorite game of all time, Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Alright, so first things first, what I'm going to be doing today is disassembling everything as a whole, and I hate wire clips. Disassembling this as a whole, and I'm going to be acid dyeing the blade and the back spacer here. So Ocarina of Time, for those that don't know, that game came out when I was in high school, so late 90s. And absolutely blew me away. My best friend got it for Christmas or birthday. His birthday and Christmas were very close, so I don't remember which one it was. Or heck, he may have just got it just because. I'm not really sure. Anyway, not important. He got it, and I played it at his house a few times, and then we had a thing similar to a Blockbuster video. It wasn't called Blockbuster, but we had a movie and video rental place down the street. I ended up going and renting it soon thereafter because I was like, I have got to have this. I had played the original Zelda games on NES back in the day. Adventures of Link 1 and 2. And when I found out that, oh my gosh, this is coming out, this is going to be amazing, I mean, excited doesn't cover it. And even for the Rubik's Cube type of graphics that this had, it was on Nintendo 64. It was the coolest thing that any of us had ever seen from a graphics standpoint. Starting off as young Link in the forest realm and getting Navi, your little fairy, Navi or whatever you want to call it, little fairy, and starting out on your quest. A lot of questions I get asked, when we're talking about, because we've talked about video games on our podcast and things like that, or just together as a group of friends, like, what was your favorite part of that game? Well, that's hard to say because all of them presented different challenges, different things to do. And so all of them had really interesting tidbits. I mean, you had the fire temple with the Gorgons. That was always fun. Then you had like the Temple of Time. I think Temple of Time may have been my favorite. Then you had the water temple where you had to use the grappling hook to shoot across. Well, then you had like the short grappling hook and the long grappling hook. And 20 years ago, figuring out what you needed to do in those games, because you didn't have books or you didn't have the internet to tell you what to do. I mean, it was really challenging, and that's what made it so much fun, was how challenging it was to do. All right, so I'm going to leave this here. I'll flip that over. So do we want to do the liners as well? Because you don't really see the liners. The only part of the liner that you actually see is this. And I don't think I want to touch that with the acid. So we'll put those back together. This is what we're going to be dipping in our acid today. Kind of nice and shiny it is. I'm going to go clean these up first, and then we will get to dipping. Just for the record, I did want to say again, I am in an open garage. Garage are open, and I do have on some PPE related things. I'm not wearing a mask today since the garage is open. It's a nice sunny day. You probably hear the birds chirping, but wearing protective equipment, I've learned, is a must, because if you're not and you do something stupid, you'll sound like this for a while.
Something happened. It was making awful sounds. Car was shaking. Car was vibrating. Stopped at a different Jiffy Lube, and they were like, "Oh, it was just the wrong filter." So they put a new filter on it. It seemed to be running fine.
So yeah. Anyway, so I just put it in, and we'll set a 5-minute timer, and then we'll check on it. I'll let you know what the final time was once we get to kind of the look that I'm going for.
1 hour later.
Look how much darker that is now than the original. So it's not super dark. M390, I guess, just takes a long, long time. But I didn't want it to be as dark as some of our other ones. I just wanted it a little duskier, a little dustier. That MkM still pops. About the Vox. Yeah, you can still see Vox there. So just a little bit more weathered, a little bit more worn. That's what I was going for with this. So if you've seen any of our videos before, you should have a good idea or understanding of what's about to happen now. That's right. I have my shaker cup full of spent brass casings. We are going to put a little soap, a little Dawn, a little water in here. And thanks for a tip from our good buddy John, I'm going to throw a little bit of the acid in here as well. He told us on one of the podcast episodes that if you add a little acid into this mixture, that it will help pull more of the brass, help it adhere to the steel better. So that's what I'm going to do. We'll go KOKN times 5, probably times 10, and see what we come up with.
Five minutes later.
Oh my goodness. This is worthy of taking the camera and moving it to see it in the sunlight, because I don't know if you're going to understand seeing it here. So normally when we do our brass wash, it turns out very, well, brassy. I added just a little bit of that ferric chloride to the mix. It turned it copper. Okay, you're not getting it here. Let's go in the sunlight So you can actually, this is better than I could have possibly imagined. Holy shit. Can you see that? Holy cow. Now look at that. Now that it's dry. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, sorry. I think that fell out of the frame. This is fascinating. I don't know what type of chemical reaction this is. Sorry, I think I keep dropping it out of frame. I can't see the screen on the camera here. It's so bright. This is absolutely fascinating. I may have to actually like text him and be like, how/why did this happen? And man, that's nuts. All right, let's go back to the bench over there. Okay, I lied. We're not back at the bench. I got it wet just a little bit to help see if that would help you all be able to see it better. This is wicked looking. Man, I really hope the camera's doing this justice. Because with the blade a little bit wet, just threw a little water on it, it's really showing off those coppery tones. And again, I can't see the screen to tell whether or not you can see it. So that's badass. Okay. Okay. I'm going to call Enzo and discuss this. Okay. Well, he didn't answer. So moving on. I left this backspacer in the acid for an additional 20 minutes and then put it in the shaker as well. Nothing. Did absolutely nothing. I mean, these were the same when they started. Same color anyway. They are definitely not. I'm going to get some stills of this. I just feel like you're not seeing it on the camera for what this actually looks like in person. So I want to put this back together real quick just to kind of see what we're looking at here with it reassembled. So now I've got this completely disassembled and made into a mess. Here are the two tiny little handle scales. Focus. Nope, we're not going to focus today. Okay. Two tiny little handle scales that we're going to go dye. We are going to do two different dyes on this. I have a green, this is an apple green that we're going to dye, and then I'm going to do a mixture of chocolate brown and racing red together. I think this is going to turn out the way I want it to. All right, that is heating up and starting to smell. I'm having PTSD. Okay. There we go. Let's give it a quick little stir. Here we go. Okay, so this is one of those times where I thought I messed up. I did okay, and then I did more, and then I think this looks pretty good. Okay, so I went back and decided just to do full green, and I think that is going to look much better. I couldn't decide. I liked the red with the copper and the green with the copper. I went green with the copper because this is the Young Link mod, and Young Link wore green. So we're going green. Let's get this thing reassembled. I did just get off the phone with Enzo and told him all about it, and he was super stoked about what happened there. So let's reassemble this thing and see what our final product looks like. Wow. Absolutely just wow. I'm glad I went back and did the full green. This turned out just flipping amazing. And you will get better images of this with the B-roll to end this video. I think we did Young Link proud. I think I've done Enzo proud. I think he's going to be pretty stoked with this when he sees this. Now, having completed this, there's actually one more thing I think I would like to do. I want to get rid of this wire pocket clip. And this time I actually know that Lynch has a pocket clip that will replace this. And so I'm going to see if he has any copper feather clips to go with this, because I think that would just tie the whole thing together for the MkM Isonzo Young Link mod.
5 minutes later.
All right, well, this is one of those just hear me out scenarios, because as you can see, the Young Link here, wire clip here, I tried to etch the wire clip. It would not. So I went to Lynch Northwest and I bought a new clip from Lynch Northwest, but they didn't really have a copper. They had a bronze, and as you can see, the colors they're close-ish, but they're not quite there. So I went one step further and went on eBay and bought something off of eBay, and it just arrived. So I had recorded me video of the Lynch showing up and me taking it off, but after it being on there for a day or two, you know, I was just like, it's close, but it ain't close enough. So I found what is supposedly an actual copper wire clip, the closest thing I could find. It's a little bit bigger, so it may... No, it'll still fit. All right. But I think I'm going to like that a little bit better. So let's fast forward through this part here. All right, still fits. And yeah, that coloring is a lot closer. And like I said, I don't like wire clips, but I like it to at least match a little bit. And I think in the sunlight, in a good B-roll shot, you're going to see that looks a lot better. Like I said, this looks close, but it's just, this is a little bit closer. So I think that's what we're going to go with. So at the moment, this is where we stand, kind of final form, final product of the MkM Isonzo, the Vox Design Young Link mod from Nox Knife Mods, if it'll focus. Anyway, I think that's where we will officially end it, right there. Before I do any more damage, I've got to learn my lesson. I've got to stop when I'm ahead. Once again, the Young Link mod by Nox Knife Mods. I'm WolfmanWalsh, and we'll see you next time. Take care.